Allow me to introduce you to Cain and Abel, two brothers from the Bible's first book, Genesis. Their story is a profound narrative that teaches us about sibling rivalry, jealousy, divine justice, and personal responsibility. Cain, the elder brother, was a tiller of the ground, while Abel, the younger, shepherded sheep. They both offered gifts to God from their toil. Abel, who brought the choicest of his flock, had his offering accepted by God. Cain, however, who offered fruits from his own harvest, faced divine rejection. This rejection was not arbitrary. It reflected the brothers' attitudes and intentions. The divine snub ignited in Cain a fiery jealousy and anger towards Abel. Rather than seeking reconciliation or understanding, Cain allowed his resentment to overwhelm him, leading to the unimaginable act of fratricide. However, God, aware of Cain's heinous deed, confronted him. Cain, instead of confessing, retorted with the infamous line, "Am I my brother's keeper?" God then inflicted upon Cain a life of restiveness and wandering, cursing the land he once tilled. Even then, God marked Cain to save him from murder. The story of Cain and Abel, saturated with themes of sibling rivalry, jealousy, offerings, divine judgment and mercy, is a mirror reflecting our struggles with negative emotions and personal responsibility, and reminding us of the aftermath of our actions. As we now delve deeper into each of these themes, we will discover their relevance in the story and the lessons they impart for our lives today. So, let's explore each significant theme and their teachings in depth. The story of Cain and Abel is a tragic tale of sibling rivalry. But what does it teach us about sibling relationships? From the onset, we see a fraternal bond marked by profound differences. Cain, the tiller of the soil, and Abel, the shepherd, each had their unique roles within the family. Yet the seeds of rivalry were sown, not from their differences, but from their offerings to God. Abel's was accepted, Cain's was not. This rejection ignited a spark of jealousy in Cain that quickly grew into a consuming flame. This story forces us to confront the harsh realities of sibling relationships. It shows us how jealousy and rivalry can distort the love between siblings, creating a chasm of resentment and anger. It reveals the destructive potential of these negative emotions when left unchecked, leading to the unthinkable, Cain taking Abel's life. So it becomes clear that unchecked jealousy and rivalry can lead to disastrous outcomes in sibling relationships. Why was Abel's offering accepted while Cain's was not? Does it have to do with the nature of the offerings or the heart behind it? This question invites us into a deeper exploration of the story of Cain and Abel. The Bible tells us that Abel offered the firstlings of his flock, the fat portions, while Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground. But is it really about what was offered, or could it be more about the spirit in which it was given? The story suggests that Abel's offering was given in a spirit of reverence and humility, while Cain's may have lacked this heartfelt sincerity. Could it be that God looked beyond the physical offerings and into the hearts of the two brothers? The story seems to underscore the importance of the intention behind our offerings, the attitude with which we give. Thus, it's not just about what we offer, but the heart and intention behind our offerings that matter. Cain's jealousy led to the first murder in human history. But what does this teach us about managing negative emotions? In the tale of Cain and Abel, jealousy is painted as a destructive force, powerful enough to fracture the strongest of bonds, that of family. It's a vivid illustration of how unchecked negative emotions can lead to devastating outcomes. Cain's jealousy, fueled by his perception of favoritism, transformed him from just a brother into a killer. This narrative serves as a stark reminder of the importance of managing our negative emotions. Jealousy, like a spark, can quickly turn into a raging fire, consuming everything in its path if not addressed. It's not about suppressing or ignoring these feelings, but rather acknowledging them, understanding their root cause, and then channeling them into constructive avenues. The story of Cain and Abel isn't just about the consequences of jealousy. It's a lesson in emotional intelligence, a call to introspection, and a warning against letting negative emotions steer our actions. Therefore, managing negative emotions like jealousy is crucial to prevent harmful consequences. God punished Cain for his crime, but he also protected him. What does this tell us about divine justice and mercy? In the tale of Cain and Abel, we witness a profound illustration of God's justice and mercy. Cain, filled with jealousy and anger, committed the first murder, taking the life of his own brother. This act was not unnoticed or unpunished by God. Cain was subjected to divine justice, condemned to be a wanderer on the earth. Yet within this punishment, there was also mercy. God marked Cain to ensure his protection, stating that anyone who killed Cain would suffer vengeance 7 times over. The mark was not a symbol of shame, but a sign of God's mercy, a pledge of divine protection. This is a powerful lesson about God's justice and mercy. Divine justice is not merely punitive, it is also corrective. God's punishment was not to destroy Cain, but to correct his path, to make him realize the gravity of his wrongdoing. God's mercy, on the other hand, is a testament to his boundless love. Even in the face of Cain's crime, God extended his mercy, protecting Cain from harm. This act of mercy shows us that God's love is not conditional, it does not diminish even when we falter or fail. The story of Cain and Abel thus paints a picture of a God who is both just and merciful. He holds us accountable for our actions, yet he is always ready to extend his mercy, to protect and guide us. God's justice and mercy are not contradictory but complementary. They work together to guide us towards right action, to help us learn from our mistakes, and to assure us of his unending love, even in our darkest moments. In understanding this balance, we come to realize that divine justice is not a fearful concept, but a comforting one. It assures us that our actions have consequences, but it also reminds us that we are never beyond the reach of God's mercy. So, divine justice is not just about punishment, but also about mercy and protection. Cain made a choice that changed his life forever, but what does his story teach us about personal responsibility? In Cain's narrative, we see that our decisions, both big and small, have the power to direct the course of our lives. Cain's choice to let jealousy consume him, to harm his brother, these were decisions he made. They were not thrust upon him, nor were they inevitable. The same applies to each one of us. Every day we make choices that shape our lives, our relationships, and our character. Cain's story is a poignant reminder that we are not merely passive players in the grand theatre of life. We, like Cain, have agency, the power to make choices. And these choices, in turn, create ripples that affect not just our own lives, but those around us as well. Yet crucially, with this power comes responsibility. We must bear the consequences of our decisions, whether they bring joy or sorrow, peace or turmoil. Hence, our choices have a profound impact on our lives, underscoring the importance of personal responsibility. Cain became a wanderer after his crime. What does his restlessness symbolize about the consequences of sin? In the aftermath of his transgressions, Cain was condemned to a life of wandering. This wandering was not merely physical, but also spiritual and emotional. He was disconnected from his roots, his family, and his sense of self. This restlessness is a poignant symbol of the disarray that sin can bring into our lives. Sin, like Cain's actions, can lead us on a path of endless searching, an insatiable quest for fulfillment that never truly satisfies. It represents the alienation we may feel when we stray from our moral compass, the internal disquiet that accompanies wrongdoing. Cain's wandering is a stark reminder of the spiritual and emotional unrest that can result from our choices. It underscores the fact that our actions have consequences, often leading to a longing for redemption and purpose. So sin leads to restlessness and a loss of purpose, emphasizing the need for moral living. So, what overarching lessons can we draw from the story of Cain and Abel? The tale of the two brothers, Cain and Abel, is more than an ancient narrative. It's a mirror reflecting timeless human experiences and dilemmas. It uncovers the complexity of sibling relationships, exposing the devastating effects of jealousy and rivalry. Looking deeper, it explores the nature of offerings, teaching us that the heart behind our actions carries greater weight than the actions themselves. It's a story that warns us of the dire consequences of unchecked negative emotions, yet it also showcases divine justice tempered with mercy. Cain, despite his crime, is protected, a poignant reminder that even in punishment, compassion has its place. The story underscores the value of personal responsibility, the power our choices hold in shaping our. Lastly, we learn from Cain's wandering and restlessness that our actions can lead to a lifetime of consequences. In conclusion, the story of Cain and Abel offers timeless lessons on sibling relationships, offerings, jealousy, divine justice, and personal responsibility, and the consequences of sin. If you enjoyed this insightful exploration and want to learn more about biblical stories and their timeless lessons, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.